Hello, everyone, and welcome to San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week. Today we have the awesome Ayush Vats. How's it going, Ayush?
Casey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So I have a question for you today.
Okay.
Are cash offers king in this market? Why or why not?
Yeah, that's a big, complex question. So my answer is going to be yes and no.
Okay.
And I'll get into why. So let's start with a yes, right? Let's start with what's appealing about a cash offer. I think the common misconception is that because it's cash, the cash part of it is what's appealing. But if you think about it, any seller, when at the close of escrow, they get the funds wired to them. So they're getting the full amount. So the cash part of it, it sounds impressive, and it is, and it tells you a little something about the buyer. But beyond that, really the appeal of the cash offer is going back to something we've talked about in previous videos, which is offering certainty to the seller. And by that, I mean, if it's a cash offer for, $1 million and you can verify proof of funds, then you know that at the end of 7 days, 10 days, whatever the escrow is, you're going to have that $1 million in escrow. You're going to close the transaction. Everyone can move on. So for the seller, it's very comforting knowing that there's a finish line in sight and that every moving piece that potentially could be an issue isn't really an issue in this case. So the other half of that question is, if you're not a cash buyer, which is I think who this question really appeals to, what can you do to combat when you're up against a cash offer? And I think it's simply providing that certainty to the seller, because we've all been in positions as a realtor. I have accepted a non-cash offer over a cash offer that was on the table. As a buyer's agent, I've won out against cash offers. So obviously, it's not the be-all, end-all in terms of offers. And so if you can show certainty, and if you can show, there's a variety of ways to do that. There's different things, and it might be a combination of these. You can show that you have gone through the pre-approval process, you've been underwritten, and that essentially, the lender has done all of their due diligence. That's really helpful. You can have a nice big down payment, an earnest money deposit. And if you can show proof of funds, it shows that you have skin in the game and that you're unlikely to kind of just bail on the seller, which is what they're super concerned about. And if you have an agent and a team that can convey this message to the seller, it's really going to improve your chances. So at the end of the day, cash is king for sure. It's always preferred by sellers. But if you go in with the right strategy and if you're prepared, there's no reason why you can't overthrow the king and take over the throne. So yeah, it's a two-sided conversation.
Yeah, so be prepared and have the right agent on your side.
Yeah, you want to show certainty to the seller that any issue, any moving part, any variable is covered by you and your team. And if you can do that and you are a competitive offer, and in some ways you might be more competitive because sometimes cash buyers come in lower because they're using that leverage to come in lower. So there's ample room for a non-cash buyer to be just as competitive and make a compelling case as to why the seller should move with them.
Exactly, and don't be discouraged if you're not a cash buyer.
Yeah, don't be discouraged. I mean, with the process of buying a house, especially in San Diego, which is a crazy market, you can't ever get discouraged because San Diego is a beautiful city, and you love the house that you're looking at and that you're making an offer on. But trust me, even if you lose out on that one, there's another just as beautiful house around the corner. It's San Diego. It's a city full of beautiful houses. You'll always find one. So don't ever get discouraged.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Thank you so much for being here today, Ayush.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks for having me.
Of course. That was Ayush Vats with San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week.